Hello everybody, and welcome to DaVinci Resolve and Fusion MediaIn templates. In this demonstration, we will learn how to create custom long shadows. We'll also install a text wrapping node, as well as creating a Fusion macro resolve template, setting up custom template parameters, and finally, the main purpose of this tutorial, creating MediaIn drop zones within templates. This is my GitHub page where you can download all the assets in a zip file, or you can download the individual files for the text wrapping. Okay, let's meet in the dojo and begin training. Before we begin, remember, may the horse be with you. Okay, this is the template and look that we're going for. It's a basic Fusion template where we can change the text on all these three elements, as well as some of the other parameters. We can change the text of that and also the text of that. And finally, we can drag and drop videos from our media pool into these slots right here. Okay, let's get started. Here's how to create the long shadow. I'm in DaVinci Resolve if you haven't already noticed, and I can right click here in my media pool and I can go and create a new Fusion composition. I already did, and it's called title card. Let's go in here. I have my mouse over the title card and I'm going to click on my Fusion tab. Okay, this is the primary composition that contains all the elements in this animation. Pretty simple, text fades on. Well, that's pretty much it. But what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to set up custom parameters so that we can adjust them in the edit tab. Down here you can see my two media files, and up here you can see my three text items, as well as over here the media out. So let's build a long shadow. Okay, here I am. I'm just going to hit Control Space. I'm going to add maybe a text or a text plus. Right click, show title picture, and because I like to show the picture for my media elements, I'm going to hit the 1 on my keyboard and 2 just to show them both, or I can just drag them, drop into the window. Okay, I'm just going to write some text here. There's really only two nodes that make this work, the directional blur and the channel booleans node. Bring in the channel booleans. That's gonna go last, and in between the directional blur, I'm going to connect the text into the directional blur. View that here on screen 2, control mouse wheel to zoom in, and I'm going to make the length very long, maybe 0.05, and I'm going to change the angle to -235, just to point down right. Then I'm going to connect this into the channel booleans, view that on number 2, and change the operation to divide. Brilliant. Next, I'm going to create a background. I'm going to turn the background black, and I'm going to connect the output of the channel booleans into the effects mask here of the background. And all that's going to do is turn it black, and that's it. We have our shadow. Okay, now I'm going to add a merge. Now my foreground is going to be the text, so I'll connect that into the merge, and my background is going to be the shadow. And if I view that, there we go. Here's our long shadow. Alt-click to create a dot. We can go into our directional blur, change the length if we want to, and we can change the angle here. Good, so that's how to create custom long shadows. Now let's add and install a text wrapping node. Now for this section, you can either download the assets included in my zip file here on my GitHub page, or you can click on this link and sign up here. This website is called stakeunderwater.com, and you can download the assets here. Scrolling down just loads the different pages. And if you search for utf8.lua, you're going to need to download this. This post was 4 years ago, but you're going to need the utf8.lua. And if you want to download the latest version of text wrapping, you can come down here. It's 3 months ago, and you can download these two files. Or again, you can just download them from my GitHub page. The first thing you're going to want to do is take the utf8.lua and install this Lua file into the Fusion modules Lua folder. And for me, that's located in appdata/blackmagicdesign/DaVinci Resolve/support Fusion modules and Lua. And this is for Windows, not quite sure for a Mac or Linux. So you're going to want to put that file right there. Next, you're going to want to take the text wrapping fuses and put them into App Data Roaming Blackmagic Design DaVinci Resolve Support Fusion, only this time drop it into the fuses folder. Restart DaVinci Resolve. If you've done that now, you can hit Control Spacebar and type in text wrapping, and you can see I get these two fuses, text wrapping version 3, text wrapping ++, and I'll just add one to show you what that does. And before that, I'm going to add a background. I'm going to connect the output of the background into the input of the text ++. That's the only caveat. Now, if I drag it into the viewer and zoom in, you can see here I get some text. I'm going to come into text ++ and just paste some random text, adjust the size a little bit, and you can see the wrapping already taking place. But the cool part is now I can shrink this and basically create like a Photoshop or After Effects like text wrapping effect. You can see it even comes with the hyphens. Very good. I can adjust the horizontal alignment to center if I wanted to, and center, or do top, bottom. I can change some of the settings here if I wanted to adjust the height of the box, the width of the box, the size of the font, change the font, and if I wanted it to be transparent, I check here, draw on transparent background. And there you have it. I found this tool to be very useful, and hopefully you can too. All right, now let's create a custom Fusion macro and Resolve template. What I'm going to do is just review really quick my custom template. I'm hitting 1 to view the directional blur, the compound boolean, the background, the transform, the merge, and I added some animation such as fading in and out, zooming in, and what I did is I connected all of these text elements into a multi-merge. I merged here, this is the background element right here, and you can see my two media ins. The color gain is the final node before the media out, and this is important. Now let's set up the custom template parameters. So if you want to export your Fusion comp into DaVinci Resolve as a template, here's what you need to do. Please pay attention to the selection. You want to select everything, including your text elements, including your media ins. These media ins were inserted just by grabbing some video clips from my media pool and dragging them into my Fusion comp. And everything except for the media out, do not select the media out. And this is very important. Right-click on the last node before media out. And in my case, the color gain. If I right-click on that, I'll go up to macro, create macro. And I'm going to close everything out. You'll see some things are in red, but if you did it correctly, you'll see here the last node before media out is color gain, and that will be red. If you expand that, you'll see the output is checked. And this is very important. This output of the color gain is going to automatically be connected into a media out when you drop it into a DaVinci Resolve timeline. Now, if you selected everything, you can see here on the right, I get all the nodes that I selected, and I can go through them if I wanted to, but let's pay attention to here. Now here I can name my tool, and I'm going to do that. I can just call it Macro Tool 1, or in my case, I'll just call it the Dojo. Now at this point in the steps, you kind of need to know what parameters you want to make available. If you want to, you can select the node here on the right, the inspector. For example, I can select the text one, and I can see, yeah, I want to export the text, the font, the color, all these parameters here. Okay, here's the text one. What I want to do is close the image, but I'm interested in the text part, and I'm going to select all of these. You can select all of them, but just for the speed of the tutorial, I'm just going to select the stylized text, the font, and the style. And of course, I can rename this whatever I want to, like the author. I'm going to also select the text wrapping ++, and again, the font, the style, and the text. And for the text, and I do believe this one is called the title, I'm going to find the other text wrapping ++. As you see over here, this is the quote, text wrapping ++. I'm going to do the same, select these, and for here, I'm just going to name this the quote. Now, this window can remain open all the time if you want to export and just check and see how your exports are doing. So try not to close this window until you're absolutely sure so that you don't have to keep putting check marks. What I'm going to do is I can go to File here, Save as Group. Or I can come up here to the 3 dots, Save as Group. Now it'll automatically default to your Fusion macros, And in here, if you save it under Fusion macros, here it'll be available in the Fusion page if you control spacebar. But I don't want that. I want that to be available in the DaVinci Resolve edit page. So what I'll do is I'll go one hierarchy out into Fusion, then I'll select the templates folder, the edit. I placed it in generators. I created a custom folder, and I can just name it the Dojo. Again, here's the directory. In your app data roaming Blackmagic design, DaVinci Resolve support Fusion templates edit generators, and you can create a custom folder. I'm going to call it the Dojo and hit save. Okay, I restarted DaVinci Resolve, and yes, here you can see it showed up right here. And if I scrub, you can see everything here. But now if I drag it here into the timeline and I put my mouse over and I click on it, you can see here we have the fonts, the text, title text like we named it, the quote like we named it. And if you see, if I change the text, everything updates. Very good. Okay, let's go back in and show how to change out the background and the foreground elements using a MediaIn. Okay, we set up custom template parameters. Now for the final stage, let's create MediaIn drop zones inside of our template. And I included a link here to where I got the information from. Just this link right here. Again, from the steak underwater. Steak. All right, back here in DaVinci Resolve. Okay, I'm going to put my mouse over here, the original template that we were editing, and I'm going to go into the Fusion tab. Now I'm going to select everything like I did before, including my MediaIns over here. That's my backgrounds. And I'm going to again right click on color gain, go to macro, create macro. I'm going to name it the same. I'm going to select my outputs, and I can just leave the names the same. Make sure my color gain is the last node and it's checked output. Again, I want my text wrapping plus. But now for the MediaIn, we want to find those nodes here. So we got MediaIn 3, which is right here, and MediaIn 4. But the only thing you need to check over here is clip name. And you can change this to whatever you want, like the background. And for MediaIn 4, I'm going to find that, and I'm going to check clip name, and I can type in foreground. Now these are videos here, that's exactly what we want, and we're using MediaIns so that we can reference our media from our media pool. We could also use loader nodes if we want to reference files from a hard drive or from our local machine. Okay, I have everything selected, and again, I'm going to go to File, Save as Group, and overwrite that. Don't close this just in case we want to do something else. But now, if I go over here and I go to the Dojo and I drop it over here and I select it, you'll see here I have my controls, but it looks like I forgot to export some of the others. No problem, I can go into my text wrapping. Just make sure I have my font, style, and text selected. Text wrapping plus, we want to go to controls. Yes, font, style, text. And the text node right here. We don't want the image. That was my mistake. We want the text, styled font and style. File, save as group, replace. Yes. Okay, I'm going to remove that and drop another version of that over here. If I move my mouse over, you see here I get the controls, but now over here you see I get the background and the foreground. Now this is good because what we can do now is we can drop down images or videos. I'll drag in the horse, and let's make the horse our background. Okay, and for the foreground, we can keep it as the heart, or we can add another horse. Or I can just import another fabric image and make that the background, and the foreground I can make the heart. I could make the heart the foreground. That looks like a mess, but well, let's make this look a little better. For the background, let's just add another fabric. It's gonna be a red color. And for the foreground, let's add maybe a phone case. Yeah, great. And we can change this. You can change this to whatever you want. Hey, who's that? Well, for me, I used my title card because we are producing a new series and I just wanted to come up with a new title card. And if I just add a quick dissolve, you can see I can now dissolve from my footage and I can change this to whatever I want. Well, I hope you learned something. In this lesson, we learned how to create long shadows in Fusion. We also installed and learned how to use the text wrapping node to use it and install it within Fusion. We learned how to export the right way a Fusion macro and use it inside of our DaVinci Resolve edit page. In addition, we learned how to create custom parameters and to create a drop zone parameter for footage or imagery that we can use inside of our Fusion templates. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this tutorial and presentation. Please feel free to leave a comment or a suggestion. I'll be happy to take a look and see how I can be of some help. Don't give up in your craft. Continue editing, producing, and directing. And live long and prosper.